3, 2, 1.
Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Yeah, welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. No bell to Bodysnatcher tonight, but for the second week in a row, not his fault. We are recording on an odd day, so I can't even get mad at him for not being here, for not showing up and doing his duties. He's doing other duties.
And I just
Something to do with
realized
dead
that
people.
I didn't make the joke last week of "see you next Tuesday." The joke
Cunt?
that got Charlie LaDuff kind of canceled for a little bit there.
I thought he got canceled because he allegedly beat the shit out of his wife, which turns out he didn't do
Which
that.
ended up not even being that. Yeah, like you remember that case? Like it ended up getting dropped because his wife's like, "I'm not pressing charges against my husband, who I love. We've been together for a very long time." And then they're like, "Well, you got to testify." And she goes, "I plead the fifth." And they went, "No, you can't."
Charlie is Hunter S. Thompson. For those outside of the Detroit area, look up Charlie's work. Fantastic, wonderful journalist. He, as always, is Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
And what do we have in front of us tonight, Corey? Before you get to business, to the business of telling the people where they can find us.
To the meat.
We are 2 weeks out from Armageddon, as we always say when elections are rolling around. The world's coming to an end in just a couple of weeks. We've got some interesting polling data. We actually don't really have any data in front of us. We've just heard about data. That's what intellectual idiots do. We're not actually going to give you the data. We're just going to talk about the data that we've heard about. Not great for Kamala Harris in this regard, but also great for Kamala Harris. So it's just really going to be it's going to be a really fun couple of weeks. It's basically just Arabic people versus white women. So that's going to be a good time. Make sure you get into Elon's lottery, where he is absolutely flirting with what's the word I'm looking for? Election law, and bipartisanship can be good, apparently, Corey, along with some other stuff. Before we get into any of that, tell the people all the wonderful places that they can consume our content, other than right here live on Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube.
Other than right here, right now, Libservative Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can find Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram, Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservpod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
I don't know.
Not tomorrow.
You're bouncing in it.
Today. Start right now. Just pause. Well, you can. What?
You're bouncing around on me a little bit. Every time we start a live stream, something goes wrong.
You're bouncing around on me a little bit too, bud. But it's probably my end.
Yeah, it's okay.
Hey, dude, laptop.
What do you think about this? You struggling? You struggling over there?
I'm not. My computer is. It's a goddamn government.
Government. Yeah, they're coming after us. Our tiny little show. What do you think about this Hamas leader, Yahya Sinhwar, being killed literally just after we recorded our last episode? This is a guy. This is so interesting, right? Because it's one of those situations where the mainstream media. It's just a guy. Because there are folks in the media that want to run this story as if it's just another situation where the West and the United States destroyed a terrible, horrible, disgusting, no good, very bad terrorist. However, in the age of, I guess, the internet at this point, I guess we could just say that there is a large portion of global population that look at this man as a martyr. And however you feel doesn't matter. That is absolutely a big deal. And just dismissing it as anybody who believes that is an anti-Semite who wants Jews to die is very short-sighted and a little bit low IQ. Would you agree with that assessment, or would you have any other?
You cut out for a second. You're gonna repeat it, because I'm not going to agree to. I heard Jews, and like I'm like, well, I'm just not going to blindly agree to this. Like that would be foolish. You're gonna have to repeat yourself.
No. So there is a large contingent of people around the world who believe that Yahya Sinhwar is a martyr.
Okay.
And having certain folks in media just saying that if you believe that means you hate Jews and you want all Jews to die, I think is a very
Well, yeah, that's just
low,
the oversimplification. Yeah.
low IQ and exactly oversimplified version of what this man means to the world. Am I now a terrorism apologist now, Corey, for saying those things? Some people are going to say so.
No, it's just those murky waters we like to tread of context. You know what I mean? Like it's. Do I think he was a good person? No, you just
Don't
like
know enough about him to say that, I don't think.
right, like I like. I don't like. He just wanted. He just wanted. What did he ultimately want? He wanted a Palestinian state. He wanted a place for the Palestinians to live, right? I don't know. Did he want all the Jews to die? Was he like Hitler?
Maybe.
He could have been. Because
Maybe.
then it's clear. It's like, yeah, no, he sucks. Wow, that guy's a real jerk. But like, obviously, I don't agree with his tactics. I think, like, I don't understand how, like, thinking, like, murdering people through scare tactics and bombings and stuff like that. I mean, even if you are, like, in a desperate scenario, you're not going to be looked at like the good guy. And that goes for people in our country. I don't look at Dick Cheney or George Bush or even Obama or Trump and anyone who was doing these just blanket drone strikes across America as a good guy. But, he just happens to be on the other side. So, and again, like, I don't fucking like what he was doing.
I guess that's kind of a fair way to look at it, right? But
just an intellectual idiot, Dan.
Yeah, no, it's this idea of, you have to compartmentalize everything into this box of like anti-Semite versus not anti-Semite. Like, you know what I mean? It almost goes back to like that woke doctrine of like, you can't just be not racist. You have to be actively anti-racist. It's like, no, some things just aren't racist. Like my shirt, I don't think my shirt is racist in any way. I think it's just a blue shirt. Should I be wearing an anti? Right? Should I put like anti-racist on the front of this shirt to make it not racist?
Bet you that shirt's anti-American, brother. It probably wasn't made in America.
It might be. Yeah, no, it's probably. It's like a.
If your tag's on the front, that means you're wearing it inside out.
No, it's like I was wondering if it was like if there was like a made in China sticker on the front of it, but I think it's one of those Sonoma Coles shirts. I don't know where the hell those are made, but it's not actively anti-racist, and it's also not actively anti-Semitic.
Made that for you.
I know, it's terrible. So I guess it's a racist shirt. It's not actively.
I'm down in the shit with you, brother. All my clothes are probably made in foreign lands.
I will say though that this Yahya Sinhwar guy, the little that I know, like I'm not like an expert on this person, but I wanted to take a little bit deeper dive into what at least he felt he represented, right? Because everybody feels like they're the good guy, right? Like Adolf Hitler felt like he was the good guy, right? Everybody always feels like they're the good guy. As Netanyahu feels like he's the guy. Yeah. Sinhwar felt like he's the good guy. Just a little bit of a background on this gentleman. This guy studied, like deeply, deeply studied the Israeli state while he was imprisoned by the Israelis. Like studied their tactics, studied their politics, studied their culture, studied everything about them, right? It's this interesting thing that nobody likes to do in like any regard of anything anymore.
Yeah, that's like just
where
classic like
where you-
historical fucking general type shit, like know your enemy.
where you deeply, deeply study your enemy, right? Which is why we don't take a lot of people seriously that, like, for example, hate Donald Trump or for the most part, hate Kamala Harris. It doesn't really matter which side you're on in the presidential election. I'm just using this as an example. The ways in which people shit on Donald Trump, we talk about it all the time on this show.
All the wrong ways.
It's the stupid, they shit on him for the dumbest reasons when there are actual good reasons to do it. And I feel like we get a lot of that for
A person
Hamas
like this.
leaders. I feel like we get a lot of that against Netanyahu as well. Like let's be fair and let's play it both ways. I feel like that's the same way goes. Like the reasons people shit on Netanyahu are like he's bombing people. Like yeah, but like let's dive deeper into that. He's shitty for bombing people, but like let's dive deeper into his reasons for wanting to bomb people. And if you do that, you can kind of get some nuance out of it. But if you dive deep enough, you realize that Benjamin Netanyahu is an insufferable pile of garbage.
Right.
And
it's
not
just the most demonstrable way to explain that is saying by he bombs people.
Well, sure. You make it easy, right? So this Yahya Sinwar, as far as to do a Hebrew to Arabic translation of Israeli text from prison. Like that's how far this guy dove into what he felt to be his enemy. So like when you look at a guy like this, it's really easy to just go, he was a horrible, disgusting, terrible, awful terrorist. But when you dive deep enough into it, what do we always say, Corey? Maybe not you. I shouldn't put this on you. What do I always say? One man's terrorist is another man's martyr.
Martyr.
One man's
yep.
terrorist.
No, yep. You always say that.
Do I always say that? I always say that.
Goddamn time.
I do. It's true.
Like, hey,
I've said it multiple times.
Oh man, Michigan lost this weekend. Yep. One man's terrorist is another man's martyr. Like, I guess that makes sense.
It does make sense.
It does. No, it absolutely does. Yeah. Like
there are reasons that people support this and for people like, Barry Weiss's Free Press and basically anybody in the mainstream media to run out and make an episode about why thinking that he might have at least felt like he was doing the right for his people makes you an anti-Semite is lazy. It's just lazy. And I've said it multiple times on this show, and I'll say it again right now. I mostly like Barry, and I mostly like what the Free Press does until they start talking about Israel. That's all they've done, apparently, or seemingly, over the last 6 months. I like Barry. I'd have a conversation with her. I'd sit down and have a glass of wine with her. She's a great journalist, but she's lost. I don't know. I would imagine
like
so.
She probably does IPAs.
She's not the one who has the babies, right? It's her wife that has the babies.
I don't know.
Nellie Bowles.
I don't fucking know.
I'm pretty sure
Her.
Nellie's the one that has the babies. Like, but that's the thing. Is like I can have these
they're not
disagreements
pregnant
with somebody
all the time. Just you can't drink when
know.
you're having babies. But
seems like Nellie's
been
knocked up for the last 3 years.
I feel like Dan. I feel like in any relationship, a lesbian one is where they're pregnant the least amount of times. Call me crazy.
Either way, like that's the whole thing. Is like, is just this idea of like trying to talk about these things while getting out of your feelings, because I get so mad at people like Barry for the way that they have portrayed this war, and as some people would call it, and I would fuck it, I'll call it a genocide. Like, you're trying to eliminate a people, and your reason for doing that is, well, because if we don't genocide them first, they'll genocide us. Like, it's as if that's like an excuse.
And
to
that's what's
destroy an
so
entire
fucking wild,
people.
right? When it's like a super stupid argument like that, it's like, okay, well, what do you think the stupid, super simple argument is on the other side? That's probably damn near the same thing.
It's just like the
You know what I
racist-
mean? Like,
racism.
why is Hamas doing that? Because they want to do it to us.
It's just like the racism argument in that we saw over, Black Lives Matter and whatever. This horrible monster of anti-Semitism that's taking over the globe, and it's like you walk outside, it's like I don't see it. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah.
I feel like we're allowed to say it, at least in a micro way, because of where we live, because of us living in the Detroit area, where we are an unbelievable melting pot. We have a Jewish community, we have an Islamic community, we have a Black community, and they're all strangely geographically segregated. If you've never been to the Detroit area, you don't know what I'm talking about. Like, but we are kind of neighborhood wise, sort of.
But everyone goes
segregated.
to everyone else's neighborhood, to like for food or shopping. Like,
yeah, there's no Muslim guy going to blow up a synagogue that's going and blowing up a synagogue in
you drive down
in
17 in John
Southfield.
R, and it's like you're driving like any fucking exit off of any interstate when you pull off. And you know how like typically when you pull off an interstate, there's like, what's there? Gas station, McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King. Like everything's there. You go down 17 in John R, again, geographically, none of you guys even fucking know where this is. But on this street, literally it goes Catholic church, and then across the street is a non-denominational church. And then next to the non-denominational church is a Muslim church, and next to the Catholic church is a Jewish church. And they're all within like a football field of each other.
I think you meant mosque and synagogue.
A mosque, synagogue. You know what I mean. You get it. The fact that you're correcting on me that, it's like we're around these all the time. Like we should know words.
You should know words.
Words are fun, brother.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I get what you're saying. Yeah, like it's not the doom and gloom that at least here. Now over there is a whole different story, clearly.
It's just the idea of like being able to take a step back and understanding, like, do I think Sinhwar was a martyr? Nah, probably not. But just being able to take a step back and take your feelings out of it for a minute and understanding.
Just try to like understand where he's
why
coming
some
from.
And just like why some people might feel like he is, right? Because you have, especially here with our Dearborn population of so many Arabs and Muslims, like these are people that feel like their people are being destroyed by a terrible, awful, tyrannical government. It doesn't have anything to do with like what religion they represent. It doesn't have anything to do with their Jewish.
It doesn't, because historically all the different religions got along in that area when the Ottoman Empire was in charge. And it wasn't until, different sects were given more power over land and shit like that is when things went awry.
And it's not to say that you're not going to run in, and that's not to say that you're not going to run into like overly pissed off. I shouldn't even say overly, because who am I to say? But just pissed off Muslim people that go, yeah, fuck Jews. Like, do those people exist? Yeah. Oh, they absolutely exist. I've met them. I've 100%. Talked to them. But again, at the end of the day, think about the context and where they're coming from in their hatred for the Jewish people. It isn't really about the Jewishness. You know what I mean? It's easy to say if you're a pissed off Muslim who's sick of watching Gaza get blown to the ground. It's easy to say, yeah, fuck Jews. It is easy to say that, and you can kind of. We're having a legitimate conversation. I would hope that that's okay. But like you can hear a pissed off Muslim person say that and understand where they're coming from. understand where they're coming from, but also recognizing that their anger is kind of positioned in the wrong spot. It's not like the Jewishness that's the issue. It's the horrible, disgusting, what's the word I'm looking for? Tyrannical, nationalistic state government. That's the problem. The religion doesn't matter in any way, shape, or form. But you're not allowed to say those things. You're not allowed to say those things because you're an anti-Semite if you do.
Yeah.
And guess what? Some of it is anti-Semitism. So you understand. It's just like, this is why this fucking topic is just exhausting.
It is. It's so fucking stupid. Like, like having to walk weird around the conversation because of all the negative connotations that are attached to it is what's most frustrating to me about this conversation. Because the conversation of what's happening here is the same type of conversations that could be happened about Iraq years ago against the Kurds. It could be argued with what's going on with Ukraine and Russia when it comes to border disputes. You could talk about like the apartheid in South Africa and all those things. You don't have to constantly give caveats about it, but with this one, for some reason, you just have to.
You got to tiptoe. You got to tiptoe
about it. And that's frustrating in itself because it affects the actual conversation to add the context to it. Like, no hands are really innocent in what's going on in Israel, between Israel and Palestine. And that's why I'm just like, at this point, America just needs to just step back and, like, in the very least, and like in the most, or in the least, like, active role America can do if they don't want to actively stop a genocide happening is just stop supporting it.
But Corey, if they do that, Iran will blow Israel to smithereens.
Well,
then, I mean, they might at this point, but even if they did, we're still sitting.
So now that Yahya Sinhwar is dead, like, good, we killed what would be considered a terrorist. Because let's be honest, at the end of the day, even though we can understand where he's coming from, he wouldn't understand where you or I were coming from, and he'd probably want us dead as well. So it's like, well,
you're probably right.
That's one less person who might be actively trying to plot something happening in my region and my specificity, which makes me feel a little bit safer for the moment. So,
all right, Dick Cheney.
That's no.
They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
While your words have weight, you are now the second person to interrupt me. But now I lost my train of thought. What was I saying?
Doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, Sinhwar being dead. Yeah, no, like, it might be good, but like, it's important to understand where these people are coming from, because then we can do it with our next steps in diplomacy and policy and all this type of stuff. We could take this type of stuff into consideration and be like, ooh, this might piss somebody off down the road. But it doesn't seem like a big deal now. 30 years down the road, and then be an issue. That's why I'm always obsessed with context.
Just another little piece of context here. The way that Yahya Sinhwar was always portrayed was, as Hamas often is, and most of the time rightfully so, right? Hamas is this horrible terrorist group that uses its own people as shields for weaponry, right? That's what we're always told. And look, it seems like for the most part, that's probably true.
Yeah.
But that's the way Yahya Sinhwar was portrayed, and he was killed by a drone with nobody else around him, or at least no other no hostages around him.
Yeah,
no
that video
around him
is probably what solidifies him as like a martyr, right? You could tell he was war torn and battled and bloody, and he was by himself. You see a lack of hand, it looks like, in the video.
The man was anything but a coward. He was not a coward.
The drone shows up, and the last view you see of him is him just whipping a stick like at the drone, like trying to take the drone out in one last like fuck you before he went. Like, he didn't
definitely not
die like a dog. Like Trump talked about the one guy.
Yeah,
who's the one guy that got killed?
Soleimani.
When he's like, he died like a dog.
Yeah, Soleimani.
Yeah. Wait, no.
Yeah,
You might
like-
get that. I think Soleimani was the general, right?
Yeah.
He was the one drone striked in Iraq. I forget who the
Yeah,
other
the
one
Iranian
was.
guy.
One guy was killed with the drone going in and dogs going in, and one guy was killed with because he was killed with Iraqi ambassadors. It was like at an airport.
I don't know. We don't have Bell here to look it up, but it's fine. They're all the same.
Yeah.
They're all the same. They're all just brown people.
Really?
I'm kidding. For fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. Can you not just
That's
We
what
have
this
to
is
stay
all about,
woke.
you know. The man himself.
We have to stay woke.
Yeah, it's just nobody wants to have a nuanced discussion about this entire conflict. Nobody's interested in it. And that's what's frustrating. I think that's what frustrates you. That's what frustrates me. Nobody wants to have because we defend Palestinians openly on this show, that means we want Israel destroyed. You know what I mean? Like that's how people take
Right.
it.
And that's
how
like,
people
no, we
take it.
don't. We just want peace.
I mean, I do want Benjamin Netanyahu removed from power by any means necessary.
Yeah, he's the
but
Israeli
that's-
Dick Cheney.
But that's just because he's an actual piece of shit. But anyway, and that has nothing to do with his Jewishness. So stop it.
Dick
Stop
Cheney's
it.
Jewish?
For this conversation, yes, he is.
Didn't know that.
I don't know what I just said.
Something about Cheney. Should we get on to things learned? Since we didn't
oh, yeah,
even
Yeah, we skipped that. Yeah, well, I guess we can lighten the mood a little bit. I'll give you mine real quick.
okay.
I don't know. I learned I don't know if this is a things learned or what this is, but it's just something that I pondered because my wife and I are taking a road trip down to the horrible, disgusting, terrible fascist state of Florida here in a couple of weeks. And we got an Airbnb at a ridiculously low price. Now I understand I already know what people are saying. Well, yeah, a couple of hurricanes just hit there. I bet rates are real low. But honestly, we're staying in a spot that wasn't hit that hard. Like everything's, and I'm renting this house for an absurdly low price. I'm going to tell you, it's under $150 a night. Now, some of that is because of some Capital One credit card points. But even without those, we're talking about like $200 a night, 3-bedroom house, private pool on a canal. How in the does the hotel business, how does the hospitality business survive with wonderful, excellent, credible, free market capitalism that Airbnb is? I love.
I think the service. I think that did the Airbnb eat into the hospitality service? Sure, but I think they'll both survive. I just state it's interesting, right? Because I just happened to stay in a hotel in Traverse City last weekend.
Did you see Pete Buttigieg?
No, I didn't. I wasn't looking for him. But and it was kind of it was like a nicer hotel. It was the Grand Beach, like hotel and resort or whatever. And it is off season. It is off season. But the indoor pool, the meals delivered to the room, what's it? The breakfast, not having to worry about cleaning up anything. And the free soaps. You don't get to steal soap from Airbnb. They might charge you for that.
Yeah.
So I mean, now when I'm going somewhere with the boys, or if I'm planning a longer trip and I wanted to involve, the Airbnb definitely gives you more options. Like if I don't want to be in an inner city and I want to be in a house on some property or something, definitely gonna look into Airbnb. But if I'm just going to a city for the weekend, for the night for a wedding or something, hotel seems to be the way to go.
You want it for room service. I've literally never ordered room service in my life.
Well, we were at a swanky place.
Not one time.
It's kind of cool. You feel bougie.
I don't want to feel bougie.
Like there's
want my
just
own
not
private
gonna go and it's
house.
just there.
I want my
But
own
it's
private
like,
house. I want to be
but
able
it's
to.
basically
You know
the same fucking thing as just ordering food to your house, but you just feel more bougie doing
and
it.
it's just way overpriced. And also the other thing that Airbnb offers, and not every house, but like I got 2 dogs. We get to bring the dogs down there with us.
Yeah.
Now I will say this, where some of these Airbnb hosts, and if you're an Airbnb host out there listening, I want you to listen to me very, very carefully. Some of you, not all of you, because some of you are great when it comes to this. Some of you and your fucking pet fees that you tried to charge. On the one hand, I get it because some people have really misbehaved dogs, but I think you should judge your pet fees based on the reviews of the person staying.
Oh, okay. That's pretty smooth. Yeah, I like
You
that.
know how hosts can also review their guests.
Yeah.
Like if you got a shitty guest and your dog fucking comes and destroys your house, sure, 100%. Leave him a shitty review. But I got two well-behaved dogs. You're charging me $150 a dog for the stay? Fuck you. I get
Even
it.
if they're clean though, like smell.
I know you got to clean a little bit more. I don't have a Corey, I don't have a problem paying a pet fee. That's not the issue. But some of them are fucking exorbitant.
Well, maybe you should direct your anger at the bad dog owners.
I guess, but like I can't.
Because they're the ones that are obviously ruining it for you. Because you figure if it's a business model and you don't want to do some sort of like premium or like some sort of like adjusting fee, you're going to do a flat rate. And you need that flat rate to cover both the bad dog owners and the good dog owners.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Base that pet fee, because the pet fee generally isn't included in your final payment. They usually make you pay it through like Venmo or something like that. Or like I even had one where it was like just like leave cash. I was like, and I did it, but I was like, I could literally just leave and not leave.
But then you get a bad review. They have you over that barrel with the fucking review.
They got you with the fucking reviews. It's like Yelp. It's just a disaster.
What I'm gonna start doing is every time I use Uber or Airbnb or anything where you can review the user, I'm going to start pressing them to review me just as much as they press me to review them. Like when I'm with them, and then the Uber driver's like, please give me 5 stars. I'm like, you give me 5 stars first. Let me watch you do it, and then I will give you 5 stars.
Exchange the 5 stars. Dude, that's the thing, though. No, you know what? When it comes to Uber, and maybe Airbnb as well, but when it comes to Uber, like the driver is like in over a barrel, right? Because like they're the ones that really need the reviews because they're the ones that are providing the service. Like when you're leaving a review for an Uber rider, it's like, might there be a couple of fucking Uber drivers that will turn that person down based on shittier reviews as a rider? Sure. But they'll be able to get another one. You know what I mean? Airbnb is a little bit different.
Maybe they should make it to where like if you hit like you get a promotion, like random promotions or something if you're like a 5-star user. Like then you're gonna have everyone, like the people trying to do their best not to fuck over their drivers or their hosts because they want that 5-star review to get that discount. And then that person also wants to be the best possible host or driver because they want that 5-star review. Make it have a little bit more weight on the user end.
Yeah, start having start offering.
Look at us just sitting here, just fucking people get paid millions of dollars to brainstorm this type of shit. And we're just doing it over a couple beers. We could solve the world, Dan. It's intellectual idiots.
Start offering Airbnb. Like I don't really care about Uber. I really don't use it that often. Like maybe once a year, but like Airbnb is like that's a big expense when you're staying there. But like have more incentive to be a less shitty stayer. Like you get like a discount if you get like 10 5-star reviews or something like that. Or
just like
discount.
Airbnb itself would swallow like 5% of like an overall price or something like that for like the ultimate 5-star guests.
I like it. I like this idea. We should get Airbnb on the horn right now.
If you work at Airbnb, listen to Libservative Podcast. We give you tons of tips and tricks to make your business better. There you go.
Just a couple intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. You learned this week, Corey.
So what I learned this week
I asked you that question when you were like mid-gulp.
was I learned about this monstrosity, this blasphemous monstrosity called pizza.
Is menstruosity, is
quotations.
that like a really bad menstrual cycle? Is that what a menstruosity
No.
is?
This, have you ever heard of Altoona pizza? It's made in like Pennsylvania.
No, but it looks terrible. It looks
Oh my
like
God.
is that American cheese on the top of that pizza?
Yes.
Ah! Okay. All right. I have something to say before you even get into this. American cheese has one purpose. One
Burgers.
purpose. That is exactly right. That is the only thing that you should ever. No, I will say. Okay, hold on. There's a second thing. It's good on a honey. That's it. Honeys and
and grilled
burgers. It's the
cheeses.
now, fuck that, dude. I'll make myself a much better grilled cheese with no American cheese. Give me some fucking shredded Colby Jack, some fucking Munster. Give me any other kind of cheese. No American cheese. American cheese has two uses: honeys and burgers. That's it. They should that plastic garbage ass cheese should not be on anything else, especially a pizza.
Yeah, dude. It's called Altoona pizza. And it's just, what the fuck?
You know what that looks like? That looks like the it
Shit.
looks like it looks like a bad, well, yeah, but it looks like a bad picture of like the lasagna that they would serve in public schools for like lunch. Did you ever get lasagna at school? You eat like 7 things, so I don't know why I'm asking you. But like you ever remember anybody else eating lasagna at a public school lunch in like 1998?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but I usually got the peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, because you eat like 7 things. I don't know if
I
our
was
listeners
listening
know this, but Corey is like a 7-year-old child when it comes to his pickiness with food.
I
Admit
was
it.
looking to see if I could find it. Oh yeah, absolutely. I was looking to see if I could find a Dave Portnoy review of Altoona pizza.
Oh,
it looks like they might be out there.
never. He would never go there.
I think he reviewed it.
One bite, everybody knows rules. Even though he takes like 80 bites and finishes the whole slice before he gives his review.
They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will
that's all I
not
learned.
stand for it.
I saw that and I was like, well, that's what I learned. That there was just a really bad pizza out there.
You know what's funny? I would try it. I would still try it. Even though American cheese doesn't belong on anything but burgers and honeys, I would try it.
Grilled cheeses. What else do I
No,
put American
not on grilled
cheese on?
cheeses. Nothing. Because
It
it doesn't
could be
belong
on a
anywhere
ham and
else.
cheese sandwich. No, because you just probably use cheddar
Ah.
if you wanted something orange. But I usually use Munster or no. Lately I've been using Havarti on my sandwiches.
Yeah, it's a solid cheese.
It is. Havarti's a good cheese.
As-
I'll put
as-
Havarti on
it's like-
burgers too.
It's like pre-sliced cheeses go. Because you can obviously get really good fucking cheese that isn't like pre-sliced but if you're talking like pre-sliced and packaged, I'll generally go with a good provolone.
Ooh, provolone's nice and creamy.
A good provolone, Colby Jack, pepper jack too, if you want a little kick in there. But most pepper jacks are not that spicy, so it's like, what's the point?
Yeah. Yep. No, I'm usually Havarti, provolone, Swiss. I use Swiss. A little bit of twang, a little bit of a tangy taste.
I don't mind Swiss, but I just generally don't go for it. I don't know why. It's just like never like my. I don't ever select it.
That's why I like Havarti. Havarti is like that middleman between provolone and Swiss. Smaller
For somebody
holes.
who doesn't like a lot of food, your cheese game is solid.
What can I say? I like
Nothing.
cheese.
I can imagine what can be and be unburdened by what has been. You know?
Yeah, I know. All right, what do we got?
All right, What have we next? Arabs versus white women. This is not your father's election. This is very, very interesting, right? So we're getting data coming out of particularly Michigan and particularly the Detroit area, because we do have that giant confluence.
We have the largest concentration of Muslims.
We have the largest. We have the
Arab.
largest Arabic population per capita outside of the Middle East here in Dearborn, just down the road from where Corey and I live.
Yeah, just Dearborn, Hamtramck, Sterling Heights. Even it's so
Detroit
funny.
Area.
It's so funny. Saagar on Breaking Points the other day, he called Hamtramck Hamtrack. He's like, I really don't know how to say this. He goes, I don't know how to say it.
Well, it's spelled weird because it's like Hamtramck. So it's like MCK at the end.
Yeah, it's HAMTRACK. But it's a Polish word actually, because it used to be a Polish community.
Yes. That's where
very
you get
Polish.
a lot of.
There's still a lot of
if
you go to like the main street.
That's where you get a lot of your Polish jokes from.
Yeah, if you go to like downtown Hamtramck, there's still a lot of like Polish stores. Not as many as
like
there used to be, but
this might upset some people and might get us pulled off YouTube, but like the term Polak in the Detroit area is not offensive to a Polish person that I've ever met. But it's supposed to be a derogatory term.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's not here. So which is great. Which is just great, because that just means that
We have to stay woke.
We do not.
Well, dude,
there's not here.
Yeah, well, like for real, like how many, like there's so many Polish people like that still live around this area. I have so many friends with the last names that end in Key.
There is like this odd,
like KI, not KEY, but yeah.
No, like there is this odd thing in the Detroit area where like certain ethnic, I guess you could call them slurs, are like weirdly acceptable in the Detroit area. Have you noticed this growing up? Like, and even now, they're like, obviously you can't use the N-word, but like outside of that.
No, I was just gonna say there is a ridiculous amount of white people who grew up like into like right at the border of Detroit, like in East Point and stuff like that use the N-word, and I'll see them use that N-word, but use it so like fluidly around like a lot of black people, and they don't even bat an eye.
Yeah, it's that interesting respect thing, isn't it? Like if you're respected, it doesn't matter.
Right. Or like, yeah, like it's like a lot of times like, it's the word, it's not what you say, it's how you say it.
Yeah. And who you say it around.
Like I know that I know that I could say it around like a lot of my black friends or family, and I could say it so well that it would just blend into the conversation. They wouldn't even think to acknowledge it because they wouldn't even notice it. But I wouldn't.
It's that white privilege that you have to be able to say the N-word.
What did Theo Vaughn say the other day? He's like, nah, man, whenever I get the urge to say it, I just write it down.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Because now what people perhaps had never seen before can be seen to know what's possible.
It's pretty wild. We do.
Anyway,
we have a very, very big melting pot here, like in the Metro Detroit area,
which is what I think.
Arab population, the most black people per capita in Detroit. Like,
well, and Corey, I know we have like this privilege, so like it might not. We might not be the best people to talk about this particular topic, but this Arabs versus white women topic.
Yeah, no, we're neither of them.
But because I feel like 2 weeks out. These are the two groups that are going to decide this election. And I think it's mostly going to be white women. However, let's start with the Arabic vote, because we have, you know what, and I'll do, let me just play this piece, because there was a small MSNBC interview, and maybe some of you have seen it before, but I'm going to play it for you again. This is MSNBC. Had to have been freaking out. Honestly, I'm surprised they aired it. I'm proud of them for airing it, but I'm surprised they aired it, because this just does not look good for Kamala Harris when it comes to the Arabic vote. Let me just play this small clip from this real fast.
How are you feeling 2.5 weeks out from this election?
Betrayed, second-class citizens. We've been dehumanized.
This is what we're trying to grapple with as a community of color, as a community that is civically engaged, and a community that's done everything right here in America, right? But we've been told that you don't matter, to the extent that we will continue to shed the blood of your people.
As Arab Americans in this community, as Lebanese Americans now in this community, and you say politicians, which politicians do you blame?
They're the ones that are approving the weapons, the resources to bomb our people back home.
Who's voting third party in 2024?
3 out of 4, if you're just
So
listening.
Jill Stein.
Mhm.
It's also a possibility that some of us will just abstain from voting altogether. But we do know
But
that
the
that's
thing
not
is, they
the
speak for a
political strategy.
lot of Arabic people.
Why
Yes,
are you
they
voting for
do.
Donald Trump?
Because my main goal is to get someone who is actively funding a genocide out of office.
Is your vote for Donald Trump a vote endorsing Donald Trump, or is it a vote against Kamala Harris?
Against Kamala Harris.
She did not hesitate in that
Donald
answer.
Trump has said
Mm-mm.
he will reinstate the Muslim ban.
He said that last time.
He's said that he wants Netanyahu to finish the job.
Can I just say that she sounded like a Trump supporter with that with that fucking answer? Because every time you point out like what Trump said at any
Mhm.
given point in time, they always go, "Well, he said that last time," or "He didn't really mean it." And I get
Well,
what
it
they're
goes-
saying. It's the
That goes
idea
back
of
to
taking Trump seriously but not literally versus taking Trump literally but not seriously,
yeah,
right?
that's exactly what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Donald Trump said a lot of things his first time around that terrified me. The campaign that the Democrats ran was
She's
that
kind of cute.
Donald Trump hates us. I felt safe though in the country when Trump was in office. I don't feel safe right now with Kamala in office. So I mean, that to me speaks more.
Trump is definitely bad news for this country. And it's unconscionable for me to want to vote for a man like that. So I would not, with a protest vote for Trump.
Some would argue that a vote for Jill Stein is a vote for Donald Trump.
That's a moral decision that I'm going to make. But
Good
I
for
would
you.
not put a vote behind a man that obviously has these nefarious.
So Corey, and I said this pre-show before we started talking, these people get it. Like, other than the one chick that's going to vote for Donald Trump, and we'll get into her in just a second, but like the gentleman that did a lot of the speaking there, he gets it, where it's just like, stop giving these people your vote because you're told that the other person is going to end democracy, and vote based on your principles. And that is what I think we're seeing out of a lot of, at least the Arabic community in the Detroit area, where
Yeah, I
it's
wonder
just
what
like,
it's like
I'm
in,
not just going to surrender and give Kamala Harris my vote because I'm supposed to, because she's the quote unquote left leaning candidate, which if you've been paying attention for 30 fucking years, you know the Democrats aren't actually left at all. But anyway, what were you going to say?
Yeah, what state is it? Ilhan Omar is in? Is that Missouri, Minnesota?
Ilhan Omar is Minnesota.
Minnesota is another very big Arabic community. Not as big as Michigan's, but like another big one.
Minneapolis, yeah.
I wonder like where they're voting. I wonder if they're basically in lockstep with Metro Detroit.
I don't know.
If that was,
it
we'd
doesn't-
have to look it up, but
It doesn't look. It doesn't. I mean, Minnesota's probably still blue, but yeah, I get your question is valid.
yeah, it's yeah, no, I think especially after seeing this, I think Trump wins Michigan
Dude, it's tight, man. I'm not gonna
because there's
say
also a
that
very big Hispanic population here, and there was just a poll recently that was done by USA Today, Suffolk University, and among Latino voters, this was a poll that took between October 14th and October 18th, with a plus or minus likely voters, a margin of error of plus or 9%. among Latino voters, Trump is up 49%. Kamala Harris is up 38%. So it's wild to me that the minorities, and then it's like it tracks like that among like black men voters. You know what I mean? And so it's wild to me that in Metro Detroit, where we're at, a majority minority vote that the Democrats counted on in the inner cities is talking about abstaining or voting Republican, when that's the base that the Democratic Party relied on, them and intellectuals. But now that they're losing them, white intellectuals in our country make up 39% of the voting block. Or when I say intellectuals, I mean with a college degree. White people with a college degree make up 39% of the voting block. And white people without a college degree make up 41%. And then when you get into those numbers, a majority of them are voting for Trump. And then they have the minorities. I think Trump wins Michigan. I don't know if he wins. Like, it's still kind of a toss-up, right? It's still definitely a toss-up when it comes to the actual election.
I'm going to say
when
this.
it comes to Michigan, I think Trump wins Michigan.
So I'm not going to say that Trump isn't going to win Michigan, but I'm going to push back on like whether or not he has like a huge chance or not. Because what you're talking about here is talking about Arabic voters that are either abstaining or voting for Trump. I think most of them are going to abstain because when it comes to Israel,
look at the
when it comes to the Israel vote, like the Israel portion of this, Arabic voters are not fucking dumb. They understand that Donald Trump, they understand what he said. They understand that he wants, quote unquote, Netanyahu to finish the job. Most of these Arabic voters, if they're voting for Trump, are not voting for Trump. They're voting against Kamala Harris as a protest vote. I think it's silly. I don't think it makes a lot of sense. But you're gonna have a lot of abstinence. But the other thing I would say is this. The only reason I don't think that the numbers that you just gave based on Hispanic voters and Arabic voters, I don't think it matters as much as for this one main reason. Most of that Hispanic vote is in Wayne County. Okay. Most of that Arabic vote is in Wayne County and Oakland County. These are historically blue counties.
But that's what I'm getting at, because
hold on, where they're still vastly outnumbered. I still think Wayne County is absolutely going to go blue.
You think so? I think it's going to be the closest it's ever been, though, if it does go blue.
It might be, but what does that mean? But Wayne County is going to go blue, and Oakland County has been blue since 1992, Corey, since the first Clinton election. It's really, really hard for me to say that Oakland County is going to turn red. If it does, Trump absolutely wins Michigan. If it stays blue, Trump can still win Michigan. There is absolutely a path because he did it once. He did it in 2016.
Because Macomb will go red, I bet.
100%. Macomb County will absolutely, and those are the three main, for those who are outside of Michigan that don't know, Wayne County is the county in which Detroit lies. Oakland County is just north, pretty affluent, mostly white, but I'd say I don't know.
A lot of Asian communities.
And then Macomb County is either in the Tri-County area, which has traditionally been the Republican county of the three. So it's Macomb's definitely going to go red.
And stuff like that. Yeah.
If Oakland goes red, Michigan absolutely goes to Trump. Harris has no path without Oakland County.
Right.
So
but that's what I was saying. Even Wayne County with this, because you're notching away at damn near every minority that lives in that county that would solidly vote Democrat. We're talking the black vote. We're talking the Hispanic vote. We're talking the Arabic vote. And then probably the white vote was probably going to be going to Trump. Maybe not. A lot of white people that are moving down there are college educated. Like they went to Wayne State or, they're going down there to help gentrify the city. And then, because then when it goes to even the abstaining of the vote or voting pro-Trump, then you're getting into the nitty-gritty of the different cultures of the Arabic community. Like Lebanese, the fact that she's going Trump, Lebanese is a friendly Muslim country, like, like when it comes to the friend versus foe geopolitical chess game that happens when you see it on TV. Lebanese and America have a little bit more of a bond. Like, you meet a lot of people from Lebanese, you meet a lot of people from Jordan, Saudi Arabia, Iraqis. They're Christian. A lot of Iraqis, like Chaldeans, are Christian. So like I would see them more voting for Trump than abstaining. So I don't know. It's
yes. The Chaldean population is very much pro-Trump, from what I understand. From what I have gathered out there on the streets. Listen, there's like I'm not. What I'm saying is I'm not ready to just give Michigan to Trump. If I had to give it my 51, I would say my 51%. I would say Trump probably wins Michigan, but it's not. I don't think it's a done deal.
And then I think he wins Georgia this time too. And I say that because what was the main reason why Trump? Remember, like one of the biggest reasons that all the talking heads talked about why Georgia lost. What was Trump in Georgia saying? Don't do the mail-in ballots. Don't do the early voting. Well, Republicans just shattered.
And now they are.
Republicans just shattered the record.
There's a lot of Republicans voting early.
Just shattered the record of early votes, of early mail-in ballots in Georgia, which I think is absolutely great, honestly. And this is why I think it's great. I think it's great that Republicans are embracing the idea of mail-in ballots. Like, we talked pre-show. You said you're doing the same thing. It's way more convenient for a lot of people. It's a lot easier.
My ballot's done, brother.
And it's one less excuse for a sourpuss that loses.
But at the same time, you also have districts in Georgia that tried to demand
but that got shot down.
Hand
so.
counted ballots. But it's like that's the silliness of the MAGA movement, right? But I'm okay with hand counting ballots, but don't do it 2 weeks, 3 weeks before an election. You do it like you make that plan 4 years before election, so you build the infrastructure to make it happen efficiently. Right, because that's the whole thing. It's
I'm
like,
all
okay,
for anything that makes the ballot. You have
these pro-Trump districts that want to hand count ballots, and then they get to sit there on election night and go, "Oh, it's taking forever. There must be some nefariousness going on."
Yeah, remember the Iowa caucus? You remember the Iowa caucus?
Which year? Because it's always a shit show.
No, like the Iowa. What was it? The primaries in Iowa. Remember, for the Democrats?
Well, they don't have a primary.
7
they have a caucus.
days, but it took like 7 days to get the results. You remember that?
This is just what happens. This is like, we're not gonna. But by the way, I hope people are prepared. We're 2 weeks out. There's not going to be a result.
And always remember all the volunteers.
100%.
Like there is no one. Yeah, like there's too many hands in the pot. There is no like election type of theft happening at a broad scale because of the fact that there's way too many hands in the pot. We're talking millions of volunteers that are only doing it for probably a paycheck because you only get paid like a little bit of money to do it. These aren't people who are in politics like all the time. I mean, some of them might be volunteers to a local party and stuff like that, but as evidenced by the very recent happenings of Israel's secret plan of how to attack Iran being leaked, when there was probably maybe 100 people in the entire world that saw those documents and that got leaked, and the fact that you can't give me a shred of evidence that's worthy of showing some sort of fraud happening on the scale that Trump was claiming, when there was millions of people involved. Because like it has to be, you're talking about in every single
I don't know about millions, but certainly tens of thousands.
I bet you how many. Okay, let's look up. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Definitely tens of thousands. I really wanted to get into the white women's side of this, because I think that's the constituency that tips the scales for Trump, or I'm sorry, for Harris. You know what I'm about to bring up, don't you?
Say it again.
Why white women are the other side of this Arabs versus white women war are so important. They're the other constituency that matters, particularly when it comes to votes for Kamala Harris.
Oh, because it has to do with abortion.
100%. And this is what, and honestly, in one way I love it, and another way I hate it.
So there are 644,000 poll workers.
Yeah, so tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, not millions though.
Yeah, so hundreds of thousands. Okay, so my point still stands. I'm sorry, I thought it'd be more. I really thought there'd be more.
But you're still dealing with
500,000.
Let's say 10,000 when it comes to like swing states that actually matter. It's about tens of thousands when it comes to swing states that actually matter.
Right.
But I wanted to discuss I'm curious your opinion on this, Corey, because the white women angle is the other side of this, and the abortion angle and how well this is working. Because I honestly don't know. If you look at the campaign ads, you would swear that abortion is the number one issue in America for white.
Bless you.
I sneezed like a motherfucker on that one. And honestly, it might work. It's an issue that in 2022. Why wouldn't it work in 2024 in the
it's a pressing
presidential
one. It's definitely a pressing issue that a lot of women care about, justifiably and understandably.
Oh, 100% understandably so. Like, I'm not saying it.
And for anyone who thinks it's being overblown, remember how much you freaked out, or remember how much people freaked out. Like, people who are more pro-life. Put yourself in the shoes of these people who don't want the government to dictate what they do to their body. Remember during COVID, when Biden was trying to institute mandates to make vaccines happen on the American people, how much you freaked out and started screaming, "My body, my choice." It should be like that across the, like, I mean, I guess I'm interjecting my personal opinion here. Like, it's just the government should not be involved in between what you and your doctor decide for your health. But yeah, like, so it's like justifiably and understandably why white women, or even just women in general, are like, yeah, I'm voting for Kamala because she's the one who's promising that this time they'll get them this time.
Yeah. Oh, it's bullshit. She's like, we're going to codify Roe. No, you're not. You've been saying that for 30 fucking years. You're not actually going to do that. But the reason I use,
and also women might, and then for people who are actually freaking out about this, it might make you feel a little bit better to know that since Roe v. Wade was,
this is interesting.
Since Roe v. Wade was overturned, I mean, I gotta find it. That women living in states with abortion bans obtain the procedure in the second half of 2023 about the same rate as before the U.S. Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. So that's
wow.
Newsweek.
Imagine that. Color me shocked. It's almost as if people don't actually want to have abortions. They have,
and you know what's also really funny about it? This is what's really funny about it, because it also spits in the whole abortion crawl, like 9 months abortions. Yeah. Most of these are being sustained because it's done through telehealth. And if it's a company sending pills from another state, then like it's still murky for these states. And so because they're obtaining the medicine to do that, they're still able to access, like, you know, healthcare essentially. And what that also tells us is women aren't waiting 9 months to have a fucking abortion. And that they're doing it within the time that it takes a pill to complete the process.
That's the thing that drives me nuts, right? You saw it in the JD Vance Tim Walz debate when JD Vance wanted to bring up the Minnesota law where you could obtain an abortion through 9 months, and in Tim Walz fucking absolutely botched the response, because it's like, yeah, maybe legally it's on the books, right? Maybe legally you can have an abortion in the 9th month. From a
Right.
legal perspective, in some of these states, maybe you can do that. The thing is, nobody is doing it because
Unless they have to.
unless absolutely necessary. But for the most part, people aren't fucking doing that. Nobody's fucking doing that.
No one-
unless,
yeah, no
unless it's
one's-
absolutely necessary.
Unless they have to, exactly. No one's waiting 9 months and going, you know what?
I don't think I want this
I
kid
just
anymore.
I didn't get to drink for 9 months. I got my feet all fucking swole. I've been having these hot flashes. I've gained all this weight. My whole
My
body's
cooter's
achy.
all stretched out.
I have
going to be
I
all
have
stretched out.
gastrointestinal diabetes. I have hypertension now because I'm pregnant. And I dealt with this for 9 months. I think now is the time. I think I'm going to have this abortion.
Yeah, we're going to terminate.
And I thought a really good simile when you said about the part where you're like, yeah, the law's on the books for those people in case those random cases come up where they might need it, that the law should be on their side to cut through the red tape to make it happen. It's the same as a stand your ground law. Yeah, on the books, I can legally defend myself on my property with my firearm. But I'm not going to do it unless I absolutely fucking have to.
No. What do you mean, Corey? You're not going to just shoot that dirty Mexican in your front yard because he's
You know what
on
I
your
mean?
property?
Like-
Get off my lawn!
Like, yeah, but it's there on my side if I need to.
Yeah. The late term abortion argument has been so unbelievably debunked. It's so yes, okay, technically it's legal.
And another
Sure.
thing that pisses me off about the late term abortion thing too is like when you look at the statistics, it accounts for like 1% of abortions. And then rapes also account for like 1% of abortions.
And that's
And
the two that
one side will
that both sides
and-
use. Yep.
And the pro-lifers will completely write off the abortion, like the rape aspect of abortions because it happens so little. And then the abortion advocates will write off the 9-month thing because it happens so little, which on the abortion side, they're on the right in this one. But it's just like, you're so willing to write off these 1% abortions because they happen so little, but then you're not going to account for the fact that like you're already admitting that it happens so little, but then the numbers for the 9-month is like in the same page, but it's a catastrophe. It's just
Well, and what's interesting is with this Arabs versus white women debate. I'm glad you just brought that up because it is both of these ways in which these two demographics are voting are so sort of outlierish. And the one the white women that are actually going to go for Trump are voting based on what you just said with the abortion regulations, while the Arabs that are going to go for Kamala Harris are doing it on the same end with regards to Israel. So like, I think I just completely clunkified that explanation. What I meant to say was this: Arabs that are voting for Trump because they don't like the way Biden has handled Israel-Palestine are off base because Trump is just as much pro-Israel as Biden and Harris are, right? And women that are going to vote for Harris are voting for her based on the fact that Trump is going to quote unquote make abortion illegal. So both demographics that are voting in these interests are unbelievably off base with the direction that they're going.
Yeah.
But these are the two demographics that I think are ultimately going to decide this election. I'm going to give the advantage to white women, and there's only one reason for that. They make up significantly more of the electorate.
Yeah, but how many of those white women are going to be voting for Trump?
That's the question. Because the way I just phrased that would lead you to believe that I think that Kamala Harris is going to win this election. I'm not ready to sit here and say that at all. Not at all. It does appear as if Kamala Harris is doing really, really well with white women. it's a good sign for her. Am I ready to call it? Absolutely not. I am going to be absolutely fascinated on Tuesday, November 5th, which is, by the way, the day after my birthday. Happy birthday to me as we approach the election.
Yeah, in the polls as of right now,
enjoy it.
Trump is winning by 0.4%.
National polls?
And that's an average of 9 polls. Yeah, and on an average of 9 polls, Trump is winning Michigan by 0.4%.
It's close. It's within the margin of error everywhere. There's just absolutely no way that you can predict where this election is going to go. It's going to be a fun night. My ballot is already cast, kids, and I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't vote for either of these motherfuckers. So have fun with it. Enjoy it. Vote early, which I think you're allowed to do in most states these days. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm putting in quotations, wasted vote on mine.
There you go. Do you have anything else you wanted to finish up with regards to Arabs versus white women, not your father's election?
Emily Volk said, I am here.
Oh, good to see Emily. Happy to have you aboard.
I'm assuming she's saying I am here because she's a white woman.
Don't assume her race.
I don't know.
How dare you?
Or her gender. I apologize.
For that matter.
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
I'm learning. I don't know. We were as two.
Didn't know she was black.
About the white woman's vote, and then one showed up, and I'm like, ah!
I didn't know she was black.
But yeah, yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think Michigan's gonna be a really interesting one.
We shall see. What else do we have, Corey? Do we have anything else tonight? We did. We had. Have you entered Elon's lottery?
Dan, if you asked me how much it would cost for me to sell my soul into some petition that, like, on the surface I would agree with when it comes to just free speech and the right to bear arms, I would agree with, but based on the grifter that's running it, I would tell you $47 with a chance to win $1 million.
You just call on a grifter. I think that's a little bit hyperbolic, a little bit.
You think so?
No. Yeah, he's kind of pissing me off lately too. But I mostly love him. He's just one of those guys. He's just one of those people where it's like I love him and I want to love him.
He just needs to shut the fuck up and go back to building rockets and cool cars, and that Neuralink shit's pretty cool, and his robots and
no, well, it just
batteries and Starlink.
Corey, it speaks to what we discussed just a couple of weeks ago and why we had such a problem with Elon Musk when he took over Twitter. While we love the fact that he took over Twitter, we love the reasons why, and we love the things that he exposed. He did all of the right things. But when he sits there and he talks about being a free speech absolutist, and then he goes out and shuts down Ken Klippenstein on Twitter because of his political views. And then you have a situation now where he's really flirting with violating campaign finance law. There's no world where he's not at least going to be looked into for this, where you're having people sign a petition and entering them in a lottery to win $1 million. I don't understand how that's not
better odds than the actual lottery.
I don't understand a world where there's not at least some sort of campaign collusion in what he's doing.
What's cool about it too, though, is afterwards it goes, "Are you registered to vote? Check here to be sure." So it's like actually getting people registered to vote. So that's a good thing.
So you entered it. You entered this lottery, didn't you?
For a chance to win $1 million.
See? Violating campaign finance law or flirting
for
with
a petition.
Violating campaign finance law.
Well, that's why I hurry up and did it and didn't think twice, because it's like, this might be illegal.
Anyway, it's just another example of people like
Damn,
Elon
what are we gonna do with this $1 million when I win it from what are we gonna do when I win these million Musk bucks?
I don't know how you're gonna cash him in.
I think it's Bitcoin.
Dude, we're gonna take a trip to Argentina and interview Javier Milei and just do like a week's worth of Molly. That sounds like a plan. We'll just blow it
The
all.
country?
I like how I say we. I'm gonna be part of this.
Molly?
No, we're just gonna do drugs.
Drugs sound
For like a
fun. We'll
week.
do an ayahuasca trip.
I like it. Should we invite Aaron Rodgers with us?
Yeah. And then I want to build a disc golf course.
I don't need to hear your fantasies.
What I'm gonna do with my musk bucks.
It's
so
dude,
dumb.
no,
it's so
it's
dumb, but I feel I signed up just because of the fact that it's like if I won $1 million off this stupid fucking thing, that would be so goddamn funny.
You could just donate it to Bill Gates. He'll take it. What else do we have, Corey? I think this is our last topic. Bipartisanship. Good. This is your story. This is all you. Did I pull it up too fast? Did I get ahead of you on this one?
Nope, you're good.
I think it's a very rude introduction.
Robert Robertson. Let me find it. So for
not to be confused with Robbie Robertson from Out of the Blank.
Ew. Shout out to Out of the Blank. Calm down. Robertson case involves. Calm down. The Robertson case involves Robert Leslie Robertson III, who was convicted and sentenced to death for the murder of his 2-year-old daughter in 2002. The prosecution argued that Robertson had severely assaulted his daughter, leading to her death. The case has been controversial, particularly because it involved the diagnosis of shaken baby syndrome. And Robertson's execution has been delayed multiple times due to ongoing legal challenges and debates over the validity of the shaken baby syndrome diagnosis. Most recently, the Texas Supreme Court halted his scheduled execution, adding another level of complexity to the case. So first, I'm going to add, now this happened in 2002, but since then, shaken baby syndrome has been debunked in some cases, and the science behind it is controversial, that there is a lack of scientific evidence, and some say that there is insufficient scientific evidence to support the hypothesis that shaking a child causes the symptoms associated with SBS. There's a lack of diagnostic accuracy. Critics say SBS is an unproven hypothesis with little diagnostic accuracy, and it can be difficult to diagnose SBS because there's usually no objective witnesses to the initial trauma. And some say that other things like shortfalls or illnesses can mimic the symptoms of SBS. And that at least 12 states have overturned SBS-based convictions or rejected the science. And in September 2023, a New Jersey appellate court ruled that SBS is junk science in some cases, and the court's ruling barred prosecutors from using SBS in the cases of two fathers who challenged their child abuse indictments. So there's this Texas man, his name is Robert Robertson III, and his life right now, through a group of Republican and Democratic lawmakers who have rushed to his defense, saying the outdated science led to a jury convicting him of killing his 2-year-old daughter in 2002. And some of the biggest advocates in trying to free him and save his life is the prosecutor himself, who put him through this, and jurors who said if they had more information, they wouldn't have called him guilty. Like right now, it's at stake right now because there is Texas legislators and state leaders, including Governor Gary Abbott, who say the last-minute maneuver. Oh no, he said the last-minute maneuver crossed the line. But Dr. Phil is in on this, and he's calling it like a miscarriage of justice. And that let me see if I can find it.
This is something that's more common than you think. We've looked into, well, not so much you, but for some reason this is a topic that I've been weirdly fascinated by, of stories of parents that if you take a child to an emergency room with an injury, they fell, broke their arm, fucking toddlers are, they fucking fall and smash their face into all sorts of shit, start bleeding all over the place. this is you're immediately suspected of abusing that child. There's almost there's a weird I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. There's like a weird incentive with CPS in most states and most jurisdictions to find parents guilty of abusing their kids. Like that's the first thing that they look for. And honestly, it's just another thing to be unbelievably terrified of if you are a parent. You know, it's like you already feel bad enough when you're, and you know this better than me, Corey, because you are a parent and I am not. But like, I can imagine the feeling of like when your child does get injured, you feeling like a failure of a parent. Like, how could I let my kid get hurt and have to take them to the hospital in the first place?
What terrifies me is like the dumb shit, right? Like me and my kid will be outside playing, and we'll be playing with like cardboard rolls, right? From like gift wrap, like wrapping paper, you know, like the rolls that are left behind. And we'll be having a sword fight, and we'll both be getting into it or whatever. And something happened where like I accidentally smack him in the side of the face so that it gets red. And it's just like immediately, it's like, oh, please don't fucking bruise, because if it does, and he goes in and someone asks him, why do you have that bruise? And he goes, oh, my dad hit me.
Yeah.
I don't want the fucking DPS at my house or some bullshit like that. And like I know my son loves me. I've never raised a hand to him. I love kid to death. And like there is no state program that he could be put in that would traumatize him while we're trying to fight for our lives to have to be together, essentially. Almost, and then all the cases where the CPS does that in fact have like a justifiable reason to do something, it takes forever, and it seems, and the kids end up getting fucked up and stuff. I had CPS work as a child because like my childhood, my mom in and out of my life and stuff like that, and they'd come visit me, my dad and my brother. And when my case was closed, she went to another case, and she ended up getting murdered by some parents. That's why they have the Lisa Putnam law now in Michigan, where like caseworkers need to go in tandem with 1 to 2 people when they go to like pick up kids, which is insane to me that wasn't a thing before one of them had to get killed.
Well, somebody's got to ruin it for everybody, don't they, Corey? One bad apple.
Almost 90 lawmakers across party lines, medical experts, and civil rights advocates had called on Abbott to stay his execution. Abbott has not commented on Robertson's case, and the Texas Parole Board rejected pleas to grant clemency. Rebuffed by the courts and Texas Parole Board in their efforts to Robertson's life, legislators last Thursday subpoenaed Robertson to testify. Lawmakers in the House moved to express frustration with Texas's junk science law, which they say has failed work as intended, including in Robertson's case. So now both Democrats and Republicans are working hard together to get this guy's life saved. And that's the tricky thing, right? Like that's the death penalty is a tricky thing because new evidence can always show up later.
Well, yeah, that's why the death penalty is bullshit. It ain't good. Anyway, so yeah.
In most cases, no, you'd have to have someone dead to rights.
Bipartisanship can sometimes be good, even though most of the bipartisanship.
Well, bipartisanship is always no, it's not always good. It's just
not always
the way our
good. It's often bad, Corey.
Set up. Yeah. The two parties are two wings of the same bird that love to work together to take.
How do you feel about a multitude of genocides in the Middle East? Those are bipartisan.
Always. War is always bipartisan, brother.
I don't know, Corey. You got anything else you want?
Helping out the elites and not the working people is always bipartisan.
We're double haters.
Stifling worker organization is always bipartisan.
I didn't know she was black.
Places like Flint is always bipartisan. Trying to stifle our constitutional amendments and our rights guaranteed by the Constitution is always bipartisan.
They insult us in an attempt to gaslight us, and we will not stand for it.
Amen, sister.
Corey, tell the people where they can find us.
Libservative Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter at LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast, and you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today. If you like the show, make sure to follow, give it a like, give it a love, tell a friend. Give your son to talk about at the water tower, right?
Nobody likes to talk about the shit we talk about. It makes people uncomfortable. That's why I love it. For the absence of Bell the Body Snatcher, he as always has been Corey Walsh.
And he's Dan Griffin.
It's been Libservative. And until next time, we are out of here.